to conquer the world on yourself. Just only using your own power. You know, it's like you can sail an ocean or you can row an ocean. So I like to cross whole continents and whole oceans and seas all on yourself. And so I prefer on land to take a bicycle. So the best way to do it really on human power is really on a rowing boat. And that suits me very well, so I'm still definitely not finished with that. I found out what I liked in sports about rowing and about cycling, and then I already knew, like, the day I'm going to graduate, after that I jump on a bike and I just cycle towards the east and I see where I will be finishing. And it took me about 14 months, and then I ended up with all different round trips 24,000 kilometers later in China. So I made that first trip, and then everybody's saying, yeah, you did it one time in your life. Well, if you do it and you like it, if in all life everybody who likes something, you want to do it on and on. So that's where it really started, and from then on I'm continuing to do strange, nice, adventurous things. Well, I cycled 24,000 kilometers from Holland to China. I cycled 16,000 kilometers from Holland through Siberia to the Bering Sea near Alaska. I cycled as an expedition leader with a group of 33 cyclists from 5 nations, from the Japanese Sea in Vladivostok all the way through Siberia again to Holland. The Friendship Highway in Tibet, 2 times the Karakoram Highway, 2 times the Indian Himalaya. I cycled 4 times in winter across the frozen Lake Baikal, about a distance of 600 kilometers. That's the biggest frozen lake in the world. I also did it 1 time by foot. I crossed by foot and by bike the Greenland ice cap. I rode 2 times across the North Sea. Well, I rode across the Atlantic Ocean. I climbed the highest mountain in the middle of America. I climbed mountains in the Alps, in Norway, in the Himalaya, and well, quite some countries. So I'm having a lot of fun in life and still having a family. Well, it works out. I think I just have to take the phone. Met Ralph. Yeah, I was born and raised in Holland. In fact, I was born here on this place. Well, not in this pub, but I was born in this village of Keswick. My parents were born here, and I still live in the same village, and my parents still live in the same house, and it's quite nice. If I come to my parents' place, I was born, in fact, on the living room. So sometimes when I'm eating with them on the same table, I know my bed was standing where I'm having dinner now if I'm coming with Christmas at my parents' place. So that's nice, yeah. I'm really born here. I went away for a while. I studied in Amsterdam. I lived for a while in Beverwijk. I lived for a while in Haarlem. But I returned to my roots, so yeah, still out here. And the strange thing is, like, it shows out that a lot of people in Holland who did big expeditions were born here or are living here, so, but it's just a coincidence, I think.
Yeah, he had a big accident. Well, some people say that he started doing big expeditions because he almost died in the accident when he was 16. But he says it's not because of that. I wonder. It was big news. Like, did you hear Ralph fall in a hole of 12 meters? Yeah, with school on a camp. It was. So everybody knew, and he was gone for months. And he had, yeah, well, I don't know how much operations, and spent a half year or more than that in the hospital. And when he came back at school the first time, everybody was, did you see him? Because well, he was about 40 kilos. When we were at Thailand, we went for a month with Isis. She was 1 year old then. He told the first Atlantic that will be, well, maybe, well, 1-2 months we're finished with that, and then we do Pacific for 7 months. Well, it is his biggest trip of his life. It's not that he's going to do something that takes more time. So I was like, well, when it happens once, then it's okay for me.
You're going to tell me about the boat.
What do you want to know?
Well, you built it.
7-meter boat, rowing boat, ocean rowing boat, all made of plywood, and it's just 9mm plywood, and it's all joined together by epoxy, so there's not a single screw in it. And
Why that design?
because the wood is too thin to screw in, it's just 9mm, so there's no way you can screw it. It just have to be glued together with epoxy joints. And yeah, after some experiment, it's strong, it's real strong.
Is it the first boat you built?
Yeah, it's the first boat, yeah.
And you were nervous about it, or?
No, not. It all went real well. Of course, you've got your doubts, but like I said, this was not the rowing. It's more the dangers in the ocean of floating containers or reefs, as we know. So when it's young, when it tips over, it should tip back.
I was not nervous at all. Everybody was like, how can you live like that while he's in danger, but you don't think of it. It was quite safe. I think the boat, it turns back when it got on his. He's a good rower, and he's got all the stuff on board to keep in contact with everybody. A lot of journalists, yeah. Before he was in his boat, we were like, well, we go somewhere where nobody is, so we can speak and well, say goodbye. And then still they found us. You saw them making pictures. We wanted to well, kiss goodbye. And then all the people were filming and making pictures. It was like, oh.
How I felt on the day that I left from Peru, you know, that's really strange, because you started on your own on that trip, and you know, like, I'm going to be rowing for about 9 or 10 months on my own, seeing nobody, and you never had that experience so long in your life before. And before that, the year before, I did the Atlantic Ocean, but then you were with 2 guys together. So that was one thing, that you would be alone instead of with 2 persons, but also like you're leaving your daughter and your wife And you know, like, I'm not gonna see them also for such a long time. So it's very strange. You row away and like the first couple of days you also feel a little sad that you say goodbye and you know, you won't be seeing there for a long time. And you really have to get into the adventure. So really the first week feels really like I have to not only row away from Peru, but also to row away from home. Let everything go, and after a week you start feeling okay, being on the ocean, being really in the adventure, but that takes about a week.
When he goes, he not really forgets, but it's like a switch. He turns off, because that's so important for him to enjoy that. He has to do his expeditions, else he will be very unhappy. He needs it.
In the beginning I had a problem that I started in an El Nino year. I knew already that El Nino was there, but it was just not possible to wait for a year longer, so I started anyway. And because of El Nino, it starts always in front of the coast of Peru. I had more currents and more winds from the south, and that was quite dangerous for me because it was pushing me towards the equator. And when you pass the equator, you get counter currents and winds that go totally the other way back to America. And if you come in that currents, that happened before with other rowers, well, you will just don't make it. You will be pushed back to the American continent. So at the first 1.5 months, I was really fighting against that, and I came really close to the equator, and then there the other problems started on the trip.
Kutalarm. Klotalarm hier. Autopilot af. Hier hebben we de Katadin watermaker. Die is er gisterochtend mee gestopt. En ik heb gisterochtend, ja, maar even een uurtje bezig geweest om allerlei dingen te controleren. Zit er lekkage of iets dergelijks? Niks kunnen vinden. Gistermiddag nog mee bezig geweest. Maar niks kunnen verbeteren eraan. En toen heb ik vanochtend contact met Nederland opgenomen met Rob Wink. Zoutvorming van het zeewater op de watermaker. Dat is niet normaal. Om de dag. 1 uur lang. Met de hand. Zoutwater uit zee pompen. Zoetwater te maken. In 3 uur pompen maak ik ongeveer 12 liter zoetwater. Het is maar 5% wat er doorheen gaat aan zoutwater. Dus 12 keer 20 is 240 liter, zeg maar, wat er doorheen gepusht moet worden om 12 liter zoetwater aan te krijgen. 10 minuten de ene arm, dus die weer naar rust toe. 10 minuten de andere. Heel vervelend. Maar ja, somebody has to do the dirty job.
So after 2 months in the trip, well, I found out that about 2.5 months of my food provisions were rotten because of the problems in the customs in Peru. My food was lying on the street there for more than a week, and mice and rats went through it, so they bit all small holes in it, and I just found out that on the ocean, and then because of that all the food was rotten. So I didn't have enough food anymore to do the whole crossing unsupported, and that was the plan because nobody had done the whole crossing from mainland Latin America to mainland Australia before unsupported. So I needed to catch a lot of fish, but in the beginning there was a really bad problems with catching enough fish. I started to get all the small shells off, and even when there were crabs on the boat I got them off and I cooked them and I ate them, and about everything what moved, or even like the algae, the green stuff that is growing on the boat, get it off and cook it and eat it as much as possible to save on my provisions, and by that way trying to get on all the way unsupported.
Bij gebrek aan dorades hier op de oceaan heb je gelukkig ook vliegende vissen. En die zijn hier midden op de Pacific een stuk groter geworden van formaat. Zo'n groot formaat dat ze perfect zijn om op te eten. Kijk, bijna 1 kilo per stuk. Daar zit nog eens wat vlees aan, dat is tenminste de moeite. Even kijken, wat een ogen. Het klapt in mijn nek. Gigantisch zeg. Dus even lekker klaarmaken. Het lijkt wel maatjesharing. Moet je zien op het broodplank hoe groot de meeste zijn. Zo, lekker even aan het plukken geweest. En dan gaan we zo eens even lekker een vol pannetje met eendenmosselen opmaken. Kijk, zit allemaal levend nog te happen of ze wat eten kunnen vinden. Kijk, dat zijn echt de grote goede stronken die we willen hebben. Daar heb ik er natuurlijk helaas veel van weggesneden. Maar dit gaat even goed ook hartstikke goed smaken. Daar hebben we een heerlijk pannetje met eendenmosselen. En hier betaal je dan in Europa voor deze delicatesse toch al snel 100 eurotjes zeg maar. Dus het is toch heel fijn wat er bij mij aan die boot hangt. En nu in plaats van de Great Trigger vissen te verwelkomen om al die eendenmosselen van mijn boot af te vreten, moet ik ze allemaal maar weer wegjagen. Ik heb ze gisteren al geproefd. Ze zijn verrukkelijk, dus ik heb vandaag even wat betere, wat grotere ook uitgezocht, zoals je hier ziet. Ze hebben echt heerlijk smaken, het begint wel heerlijk te ruiken ook. Voor mij zou ik hier nog wel een aardige bouillon van kunnen maken. Calamares, een lekker inktvisje die we eerst eens even lekker gaan schoonmaken en heerlijk even bakken maar denk ik. Kut man, oh die steekt. Een klote beest. Nog een keer. Shit man. Steekt als de hel. Zelfs als vorige keer alleen een centimeter of 5 groot. Oh, is hier ook die. Dat bam. Dus het is die zeeschildpad. Is hier ook van die bulten op mijn armen zitten. Een beetje trillerig van mijn hele onderarmen, vanaf mijn duim. Vanaf mijn duim tot mijn elleboog. Pijn. Yeah!
Around 3.5 months on the way, then there was so much tunas and big dorados, and then it was so easy also catching sharks. So it was for about more than 2 months that I got all the way, every day, really big dorados and tunas for about 30 kilograms. So I ate non-stop for more than 2 months, only sushi with some vitamin pills. And because of that, my provisions went up and up again, so I could try again to make a whole trip unsupported. So that was a good thing, and it's really great fishing, man, if it works well in the middle of the ocean.
Pak ze! Jezus Christus, man. Dat was een alfa mannetje. Wat de hel. Dat kan ik even niet handelen. Shit. Nou, recordcheck. Zo. Pijn aan mijn poten, man. Dat is los. Die is groot. Ja, sorry, die mag even uit zichzelf doodgaan. Ik ga mezelf niet verwonden. Kijk, daar hebben we hem dan. De eerste haai gevangen van de Pacific. Haai van een metertje en daarachter zie je die doorraden liggen. Ik kreeg ze dus niet met blinkers en aas te pakken. En toen ving ik zo'n doorraden. Ik denk, wat ik daar een mooi reepje. Oh. De haai leeft nog. Laat ik daar een mooi reepje wegsnijden. Hij is een staart daar, met een klein visje. Er moet een bloedgeur vanaf. Kijken of dat werkt. En baf. Raak was het. Mooie scherpe tandjes erin. Kleintje, 1 meter. Mooi. Dus we eten haai. Restant.
There were quite some big sharks around me. One shark that followed me for about 3 weeks, and every day during sunrise and sunset he was attacking the boat, and sometimes you really hear like cracking in the wood. The boat is only made from about 8mm thick plywood, so if a few hundred kilometers of shark hit that can be quite dangerous, and that went okay, but if that happens so much around you, you prefer not to jump too much in the water.
Shipwreck is heel groot. Zo huge hier. Roei maar, ik roei maar. Goede dagafstanden, echt 50, 60, 70 mijl. Dat is zit nu 104 dagen nog niet eens op de helft. Dus ik ben echt ook toe aan de helft. Psychologisch. Fysiek, te roeien, is het allemaal prima. Maar ja, nu na ruim 100 dagen ben ik nog steeds maar aan het wegtellen, aan het wegvaren van Peru. Als ik eenmaal over de helft ben, dan ga ik weer echt aftellen. Richting Australië. Dat zal me mentaal echt goed doen. Het geeft tenminste echt een stimulans. Dan ben je echt ergens naartoe aan het werken. Ik ben nu nog steeds weg aan het gaan naar Peru. Weg aan het gaan van Winnie en Isis. En over een kleine week moet ik de helft zijn en dan ben ik weer toe aan het gaan. Toe aan het werken naar Isis. En naar Winnie. Dus daar zie ik ook erg naar vooruit. Het is heel lang. Hij schuilt ook nog bij me, die grote vriend.
I got more unstable weather, currents started to change again, winds from different signs, more storms, higher waves, but also more adventure.
Hij scheidt mijn hele zitje vol. Plots, ik zag hem. De lerenleier. Zag je dat een beest? Flats. Hele zitting onder. Hoeveel scheidt hij je, jongen? Nou, dat wordt nog niet rustig, nee. Er is er een jarig, hoera, hoera. Dat kun je wel zien, dat ben ik. Dat vinden wij hier allen zo prettig, ja ja. En daarom zingen wij blij. Hij leven lang, hoera, hoera. Hij leven lang, hoera. Hij leven lang, hoera. Piep, hoera. This is ocean rowing vessel, the same on Challenger. Copy. I am safe. I'm rowing from Peru to Australia. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I'm very safe. Goodbye. Okay.
I think it was about 5 months on the Pacific, and then I got in a really severe thunderstorm. I was sitting there, and at night the lightning came over me, and it was like all the night, about every minute it hit the water, left from the boat, right from the boat. The lightning went straight horizontally over the boat, like fireballs went over. I was really sitting there, like the metal started to zoom and became, it was giving green lights, like St. Elmo's fire. I got a terrible headache because of it. I was really sitting in the middle of the boat, looking around me, and I was expecting, like, on quite a calm sea, like every next strike can hit me, and why shouldn't hit me if it goes all night on? So I was really thinking, like, this is really my last night. I'm not going to survive that. So that was really the most terrifying moment, the most terrifying night in my trip. and I was so glad that it went over in the morning and the sun came up again.
Ja, eindelijk halverwege de oceaan. Het is nu beide kanten op naar Peru en naar Brisbane, Australië. Allebei dezelfde afstand. 3898 mijl. Dus van nu af aan is Australië dichterbij dan Peru. En dan gaan we steeds dichterbij naar het einde toe. En omdat we nu de helft hebben gehaald, dan hebben we een lekkere grote elk sigaar gehad. Toen we finishten in Curaçao. Na de eerste roeioversteek over de Atlantische Oceaan, die kregen we toen van Gijs, waar de boot heeft gelegen en die ons daar ook op heeft. Dus daar ga ik heerlijk van genieten. Het ruikt ontzettend lekker. Oh. En in combinatie met die ik nog mee had genomen uit Lima. Een Inca colaatje die ik net heerlijk heb gekoeld. Heerlijk. De helft is er. Yes! Op naar het einde. Nu iets om naar vooruit te kijken, om naar af te tellen. Ah! 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 Fantastisch! Met zo'n lekker koel frisdrankje. Koolzuur er ook nog in. Ah, goddelijk.
Well, it was exactly on day 163 on the ocean. I rode 163 days non-stop, and I was probably on 3/4 of the whole crossing. And then I knew I was close to the Tokelau Islands, 3 very small islands, and near the area the winds and the currents were changing a lot. So the first time I was thinking already a week, 2 weeks before I crossed the islands on the north side. Then I came closer, I was totally by currents and winds, pushed in a circle, then I went south. So I thought like I go between the islands, and when I was going between the islands, currents and winds changed again and pushed me towards the very small island of Atavo. Atavo is one of the smallest inhabited places in the world. And I was pushed to that island, and I tried to row there away for about 18 hours non-stop, and I almost was going to make it, and it was just another 50 meters till the last cape, and then I would have made it, but then, well, really the big breakers on the reefs They took me, they flipped me 5 times over on the reef. Teeth broke out, bruises on my hips, my ribs, my elbows, my shoulders, and I just jumped outside of the boat. I swam to the beach. My boat was taken by the ocean, hit again on the reefs, taken by the ocean. I went hours on, so it got damaged more and more and more, and all my equipment was gone. And in the first place, I was sitting there on the beach on the island like, I'm gone, man, here lost on an island. Nobody's living here on a small island, it's not possible. So I had to jump in the water, get back into the boat, at least save a satellite phone. And with the satellite phone, I called to Holland, explained what happened, and immediately they started to Google on the internet and looked like what kind of island it is. And they thought they saw on the north side of the island that there was a small military base. So at first they say to me like, just go look there. If you find something over there, somebody to help you. We said to each other like, if you don't hear in 48 hours from me, you have to start up a rescue operation. So I walked to the north side of the island, quite a heavy trip. It was an atoll, through a small island, into the water, swimming, next island. Then finally I came to the north. And there was a small village of about 300 people, fishermen who were living there. So I came in there and they were quite surprised to see me with a beard of a half year coming in and what the f are you doing here, you know? And I explained, well, rowing across an ocean, getting shipwrecked here, and hello. Yeah. So they said like, well, go straight back to your boat. We take a lot of young guys and some small motorboats, and we try to retrieve your boats, because otherwise, if the high tide is coming in, there's a big chance that your boat is taken on back into the ocean. So we went all day busy with retrieving the boat, bringing it into the village, and it was really damaged very bad. So I was sitting there and thinking like, how do I get off this island and how do I get home, because the trip is over. And there was one guy, the traditional canoe maker from the island, and he said like, well, I looked on your boat and I got the same plywood and I got epoxy up here, so I think we can fix it. So then we started up to fix the boat. And that worked quite well. So we finished with the hull in about a week, but the problem was all my equipment was gone. So then I contacted Holland and I needed all the new equipment, and I started running up here. In 3 days they had all the equipment together. And I went straight to the airport, to DHL, express delivery, because they are saying in 48 hours we deliver to every corner in the world. Well, I was sitting there on that small island waiting for 7 weeks. Oh, great! Yeah, coconut. After 2 months on the island, I went off again, onwards to Australia to finish the trip. November. Ik zit nu ongeveer op een 130 mijl afstand van de eerste riffen van Fiji. Dat is echt een hele grote rand die helemaal boven langs noordelijk loopt. Er zit alleen een opening in van 10 mijl, dus daar moet ik op zien te mikken. Want tot dusver na een week bezig zijn geweest, een kustwacht daar die wil niet echt veel doen. En een andere volgboot of iets dergelijks, of een sleepbedrijf is nog niet echt gevonden. En ik heb echt een sleepje nodig. Dat laatste stuk naar binnen, want het is overal koraalriffen. Ik weet ondertussen hoe hard dat aankomt. Maar het is hier veel heftiger, veel erger dan bij Atavu. Atavu is 1 eiland. En als je kijkt naar Fiji, dat is een eiland, 2 hoofdeilanden. En dan allemaal kleine eilandjes en riffen. Er bestaan geloof ik totaal 380 eilandjes. Dus dat is echt bijna zelfmoord. En als ik hier op een rif klap, dan zit ik nog steeds 50 mijl uit de kust. Dus dan moet ik het er nog maar eens
goed vanaf proberen te brengen. Dus dat ziet er allemaal somber uit. Basecamp in Nederland is druk bezig. Dingen met Fiji proberen te regelen, maar tot dusver stagneert het dus nog aardig. Dus laten we hopen dat er een oplossing komt. Voorlopig nog maar even flink doorstressen. En die kant langzaam verder op gaan. Het is gelukkig wel wat droog geworden. Afgelopen 2 dagen nog steeds bewolkt. Maar daarvoor echt 5 dagen non-stop regen gehad. Zwaar bewolkt. Ernstig probleem is dat ik gewoon geen zon meer heb. Ik heb geen windmolen meer. Die is natuurlijk afgeslagen bij die crash op de tafel. Dus mijn accu's die zijn vrijwel helemaal leeg. Dan moet ik direct daar ook nog tussen die riffen door zonder GPS'en. Zonder digitale detailkaarten. Ja, dat is echt zelfmoord. Doorzetten maar. Volgende week weten we het antwoord. Of gecrashed of veilig binnen. Hey, gisteren wel 2 tonijnen gevangen. Toch nog iets leuks. Veel sushi gegeten. Wat koken kan ik natuurlijk niet meer met oude benzine. Naast al het rauwe vreten is sushi dan wel weer eens erg lekker. De rest ben ik een beetje aan het drogen, maar of het zonder de zon goed gaat. De wind doet het wel een beetje. Maar ach, zo heb ik weer wat te doen. Even wat afleiding van de latere problemen die volgen gaan.
I started off after a delay of 2 months from the island of Atavu, and because of that I was running out of time because the hurricane season started. It showed up in the beginning I had El Nino, and often more than half a year later on you get La Nina, and that happens more on the side of Australia, and then currents and winds are changing and they went against me, so I was rowing so slow that I make a calculation to reach Australia, I had to row on at least through all the hurricane season with about 8, 9 on average of hurricanes on that route. And about the last part, when I went to Australia, it showed up that still La Nina was there with strange currents and winds. And I was not pushed to Australia, but I was pushed more to Papua New Guinea. So I aimed for that.
Man, de Pacific, ene ramp naar de andere ramp, alles loopt fout, alles gaat mis. Ik mag het gewoon niet halen. Ik mag gewoon niet passeren. De stromingen draaien allemaal om, onverklaarbare wijze.
Now people say like you think he will stop his expeditions, that he had enough, that maybe with the 2 children he's getting older, that he doesn't want to do it that extreme, but no, he will never stop.
Why am I doing this? Looking for my limits? I'm still looking for my limit. I still didn't find it so far. But I think just you were born on Earth, make something out of it, make something out of your life, and just sitting all the time behind a desk in a chair, that doesn't satisfy me. And then retire and die. Do something with your life.
do. Things you. I can't stop thinking about the things you do. Things you.